Nick, it's really, really nice to see you again. And I'm ashamed it's on Zoom and you couldn't be with us up in Newcastle at our new hub, but thanks so much for taking the time. With me is Tommy Watson, who is leading for Walking with the Wounded up in the Northeast. You'll remember Gary Lamb from Manchester, where you so kindly helped us with your DIY boys and girls to launch the hub in Manchester over 5 years ago. And we've taken that model and we're doing something similar up in Newcastle. And what I'd love Tommy to be able to do is just in a minute show you around.
So pretty soon. Well, look, I don't know about you, Ed, but I'm ready for a tour. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I haven't seen it. I've been stuck down here, and so this is my first time round.
Brilliant, and me too.
Over to you,
Tommy.
So, guys, let me just flick the camera around if I can, and I'll take you on a quick whiz round the hub. So, quite a large reception area, and the hub is broken down into a business end and a communal end. So I'll take you through the communal end first. We've not quite finished it yet, but this is what we're calling the Veterans Den. This is going to be an area that we exploit this year, and it's all about a communal space. It's an area that we can allow veterans to come in, speak to staff, they can meet, we can have breakfast clubs once a month when we get the opportunity. It's all been boarded out at the moment, just waiting on the carpenters coming in. And at the moment, this whole area will have nice bookcases here with bucket seats and chairs around this area here. And the top end is what we're classing as the events end, is where we are going to set up our breakfast club area. It's quite a large space that we've got here. And this area will be more about a communal space. And again, we're thinking also about corporates, so bringing corporate organisations in to explain about what we do. So when the branding starts, we're looking at branding the place up around about Walking with the Wounded events. So all of our big events, including Cumbria, including Walking for Christmas. And it's a good opportunity for us to be able to talk to corporate organisations about how they can engage with us. Nick, you mentioned about the great job that Hull for Heroes are doing during lockdown. It's a bit like our Op Regen process. So we'll be selling and bringing Op Regen up to the Northeast to allow organisations and individuals to volunteer along with veterans, experiencing that, great relationship that veterans can have with corporate organisations. And as it says, there's lots of window space right down here, which is where the mural's going to go right down the length of the building. So that's
lovely. Those breakfast clubs have been really successful, haven't they? And we were talking about trying to get veterans to come in and join in, or to come forward if they need help. And actually, breakfast clubs going for a fry up and a cup of tea, or whatever your unit called a cup of tea, because I know it varies depending on what part of the services you're in. But actually sitting and chatting to people was actually quite a good first toe in the water for people who weren't sure whether they wanted to engage or not.
It is, Nick, and we've got just about 400 metres from me is a great little place called Operation Veteran, and it is run by a guy called Jim Owen. He's set up a veterans cafe there with a bit of meeting space upstairs, and Jim is a fantastic draw for local veterans that find it hard to engage, and he brings them in small groups. They go for walks on the beaches, and they can talk about the experience, and then Jim refers individuals on for support into Walking with the Wounded, into Project Nova. And so actually, you're right, that breakfast meeting space is the opportunity for individuals to actually flag up the fact that there is actually a problem or they do need support. Yeah, but we're kind of looking forward to that.
Absolutely brilliant. How come you've never asked me for a walk on the beach, Ed?
I'm now embarrassed. I'm going through my list and I've got to 75 and I think you're down at about sort of 82. Come anytime. Walk along the
yeah, we go mud skipping. All right, on with the tour.
So that's the communal end, and this is kind of the sharp end. So we're now getting into the reception area. The reception area is made up of lots of soft seating for people to sit, chat, discuss things. And what we did in here is we wanted to make it as useful a space as possible. So working with our partners at DXC Technology, we created an IT space. We've got all of our IT already set up. There's a large print system, and this will give the employability advisor a chance to sit down with the beneficiaries, CV writing, job search. We obviously have a major issue up here with digital poverty. It's a conversation that we've been having recently. People don't seem to realise how bad digital poverty actually is. We've got veterans that are on old analog mobile phones. They don't have access to laptops. Some veterans don't even have an email address. So actually being able to get guys on site, even if it is for a bit of IT training to get them familiarised, then we can hopefully start that move towards sorting out things like digital poverty. But this is going to be a good space for individuals to come on site, talk to the staff, research, and this whole area here has been kitted out by North East Business Network. So it's Wi-Fi through the whole building. We've got a guest end and we've got a business end as well. So this is what's classed as the reception area, and where veterans can come on site and discuss any support that they need with the staff, and obviously research as well, depending on the situation goes with COVID. Coming through now, we're now moving into the sharp end, which is where the team are going to be based. We made everything kind of glass partitions. It opens the space up. It doesn't look as restrictive. What we didn't want to do is segregate ourselves from the guys that's in the hub itself. They can still see us at work and they can still access support. So the hub itself is set up where we've got employability, myself in the corner. This corner over here is going to be the housing team. So we're going to have that all set up, branded up, and information with MySpace Housing Solutions. There's also an internal CCTV system set up that will be manned by the MySpace staff that goes through the whole building. And then obviously we've got family welfare support, communal space. So we've got enough space on site for about 4 members of staff, taking into consideration that we've generally got people mobile. So our high intensity support team will be on the ground and potentially 1 or 2 of us could be mobile. One of the biggest areas that I really wanted to sort out, and we got support with Mighty and North East Business Networks, was a training environment. We really wanted to have that ability to have on-site training so we could bring on training services, employers, CV sessions, information, advice and guidance. And they set us up a nice training room that provides us the ability to bring a number of individuals and organisations on site to carry out training at any stage. Also, it's a good meeting space for staff and any visits we've got with Ed and his team when they come and visit us. And through this room here, we wanted to have a quiet room. There will be times where our family welfare support worker has the wife, children, partners, and we want to be able to allow them to escape and sit down in a nice environment and spend time quietly with the staff, discussing their problems or seeking advice and guidance. And that's our one-to-one room that we've got already set up for the families. One of the big relationships that we set up was, I said, with ground control. And ground control, obviously, a national grounds maintenance company. They also supply most of the gritting services in the UK. They've got something like 9,000 services or sites across the UK. So they're a huge organisation. And then one of their national managers, who is ex-forces, Jay Hicks, got on board quite early with us because we wanted to help out with the residents' access to space.
I'm glad you turned that round because it looked like you were about to announce that you'd hidden him in that cupboard.
Before I go into the cupboard, this is just our exit through into the back garden area. I mean, the back garden area was really quite depressing. It was, you know, massive set of railings, a concrete jungle. It was full of bins, and the boys didn't really have any sort of space that they could retreat to and sit and contemplate and, you know, feel as if they've got a little bit of nature around about them. So we discussed with ground control how we could turn this really uninviting space into something quite nice. So the boys have been in there for about the past sort of 6 days, grafting away, and they're probably going to be finished by Friday. This is just our exit point through to the back garden. So I'm going to flip it back round. We'll go and say hello to the guys in the back garden who I think are who are still working away at the moment. So through the cupboard door into Inania. These stairs obviously come down from the accommodation for the guys, so the guys will be full access to this area.
Nice.
Say hello, guys. Hello. Nick, this is the guys from ground control who have been grafting away and creating raised beds, seating areas. There's still a bit to do. They've also created an ivy screen that goes over that absolutely horrible fence at the end there. Locked away all the bin areas and created some seating areas for the guys to come out. This is there's still some planters to go in here, and there's some planters going across the edges of the ivy screens as well. So what they've been trying to do is we've also got a big mural that's going to go right across that wall. So this area here was really a bin area when we first took a look at it, and Jay and Dave and his team came on site, had a look to see what
I've got to say, just before you move on, that looks fantastic for actually what was really a concrete space. For them to put, those planters are beautifully done to create some raised beds and some greenery in there, and I think the idea of actually putting the ivy all over the big metal fence has softened it up, and it actually looks a reasonably decent place to sit outside and take 5 minutes a break. And you and I both know that, having spent some time in this particular sector, people need 5 minutes space and 5 minutes peace and quiet every now and again, or to take them outside and have a cigarette or have a cup of tea or have a moment to themselves. So I think that little space is much more important than maybe people give it credit for.
And Tommy, the residents will be able to go out there and have a barbecue and stuff, will they?
Yeah, they're putting a barbecue in the corner. One of the biggest things that we noticed, Nick, was this is slightly different to Canada Street. These guys have got 2-bedroom flats, and it's very easy for residents to isolate themselves in their own little worlds and not to commune with each other. So one of the tasks that we're looking at is how we draw them out of the room, get them engaged with what we're doing, but actually get them to spend time with each other. At the moment, we're launching one of our up-regen programs in Newcastle with the Woodland Trust, Newcastle City Council, and the guys here have opted to take part in that. So they'll be taking part in a big tree planting exercise that our project manager on up-regen is launching, and 4 of them will be the team leads for the 4 regions. So the idea is that we get them out of the houses that they're in, get them to commune with each other, get them to communicate, and get them engaging with the community, which is something that I noticed was missing from here when we first arrived.
That was critically important. Part of the things that that made Manchester, we felt that an ideal situation was the fact that half the street was derelict housing that we were turning into veterans housing, but the other half of the street were people that were already there that weren't veterans. And as much as it's great to have a veteran next door you can have a chat with, what you don't want to do is reinstitutionalize people or create a military enclave again. You want people to be interacting with people. So, I mean, even stuff like, for example, where you got the barbecue outside, if you can you can make a relationship with a local hotel or a local chef or a local restaurant, somebody will come in and maybe give the lads teach them some new sort of barbecuing skills or things like that, just to make sure that there's a through flow of people who aren't ex-military, because I think that's the thing really, is you want them to be interacting much more with just general members of the public.
Yeah, one of the things I feel very strongly about, Nick, and then Tommy hears me sort of witter on about this, is all of us who served in the military, first and foremost, we are citizens. We're the same as everyone else. We're citizens of this country, and we must be treated as such, and we must behave as such. And things like integrating with the community is terribly, terribly important.
Well, we found, haven't we, that historically, when you get people who've been in the military, things that irritate people in the military are things that people outside don't even think about. Things like turning up on time can be taken by somebody in the military as a personal insult. I've got friends in the military, and they, you know, well, I'll meet you at 7 o'clock at the pub for a pint, and I know my phone will go at 2 minutes past, going, "Are you not coming?" So yeah, I'm a civilian. I'll be there when I get there. You know, it's but there are those things that when guys come out, that they can be offended by things that everybody else considers normal and everyday. And I think the more that you can, you know, one of the great things at Canada Street was when we saw people who are the military guys walking across the street with a couple of cups of tea and sitting with a bloke to talk about fishing or football or anything else on the other side of the street. So that interaction, I think, was really important. So yeah, the more people you can get through the place there and interacting with and you know, more opportunities you get for your guys to go out and do whatever they do, tree planting or whatever, where they interact with just people who aren't ex-military, then I think that can be a great thing.
Yeah,
I think
the volunteering.
I was just going to say, me being not ex-military, I've brought enormous value to your life in the time that we've known each other.
Clearly. No, but the volunteering piece is something that's really important, Nick, and it does allow people to integrate. And Tommy's talked on a couple of occasions about Op Regen, which, you know, like what Paul and his guys are doing down in Hull. And we're very, very proud of our volunteer program. It's just been nominated for a Queen's Award for volunteering. And it's a key step for people to see the value of the military. And you know, one of the things that, you know, we served then, we still serve now. And having these national volunteering programs, you know, Team Rubicon, now Op React, you know, is another one that's doing some really, you know, remarkable stuff and has been doing so through COVID. As you know, we were handing out meals in Manchester throughout COVID. It's an incredible value to the community and one that people should recognise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Rubicon have actually worked with us on DIY SOS and sent people down that are in this country whilst they're waiting to get posted to disaster zones around the world, and they're invaluable. And it's great because, again, you know, we'll have 7 or 8 of them in amongst 100 people all having lunch together, and there's interaction, which is just everyday interaction. You know, taking a mickey, a laugh, doing the normal things, and you start to value people that aren't necessarily from your own background too. Rugby for Heroes is another military charity that I'm involved in, and they get guys who have come out of the military to take up their rugby coaching qualifications, because it then puts them in a rugby club of 300 people where they have the respect and they have their skills and physical exercise skills and knowledge and training knowledge and all those other things come in. And they've also, suddenly you've got 300 mates, you've got another unit that you're working in. And all of those opportunities to get veterans into those spaces, I think the more we learn about this, the more that, and that I think you're right, that's critical to their development and that ability to reintegrate. So it's looking great up there. Is there any more to see?
I think that's us, Nick.
Well,
Tommy, thank you so much. It'll be exciting on Wednesday when we can open up. And Nick, I really appreciate your time to come and have a look. And well, I'm thrilled that Tommy was able to show you where you inspired it, and we've taken the baton and we've run with it.
That's very kind of you. You've always said that, but you and I both know that actually we sat down and had a cup of coffee, and I said, "What do you need?" Kind of went from there. But I don't think either of us expected it to be in the place it is now. But what that only happens because we know people who can do people and who are prepared to think outside the box. Or cliches, I know, but and dynamic people who go, yeah, we can change this, and also convincing a lot of corporate partners that there is value for them. You know, it's not a charitable thing. It's actually it's a genuine opportunity for those partners to get involved and actually change the community they live in. And for me, it always comes back to this thing: if you've gone and served your country, if you put yourself in the line of danger, no matter, you know, people like come up with political arguments. Well, people have done this and should take that up with the politicians. Our young people leave places where there often aren't very many job opportunities, or they choose to join for various different reasons. They serve their country. The very least that they should actually have when they come home is the opportunity of a job and the opportunity of somewhere decent to live. Give them those two things, and then it's up to them what they make of it from there on in, like everybody else. But I think the basics of a job opportunity or training for a job opportunity and somewhere to live is the very minimum that we should be offering. And I think that looking at the Northeast hub there, it's another fantastic footprint being put down to give more people that opportunity, which benefits not only the veterans, but benefits all the people living up in the Northeast as well. So congratulations, brilliant job.